Welcome to yet another FPL video. It's been nearly a week now, but it's been a good time to recharge over this international break, and there is Champions League Fantasy coming up, and I've made a video on that, and I'll be making a Game Week 1 preview closer to the deadline next week. And yeah, things are going to just come in thick and fast. International break is nearly over. There's still some qualifiers to go for in South America, for example. But yeah, after that, just focus fully on the Premier League. And I have made an initial preview on this on Game Week 5 last week, as well as a wildcard draft. So if you want to check them out, I offer statistics, advice, and also just my opinions on Game Week 5 at the time. And now my mind's a bit clearer. I know a bit more what I want in terms of the transfers, but I also want your input, and that's where I'll ask you lot for your suggestions down in the comment section below when it comes to it. But for now, this is how my team is looking for Game Week 5. And yeah, as I've discussed last week, in terms of fixtures, nowhere near as good as last week, where I ended up getting 98 points, and I was very happy with that. I needed a week like that because Game Week 3 was a shambles. But McCarthy away to Chelsea, let's be honest, I'm not really expecting anything. I know that last year they actually went and won 2-0 at Stamford Bridge, but I'm not really going to be expecting anything like that this season. Anything that he gets, whether it's save points or, I don't know, a penalty save or a clean sheet, whatever it is, bonus points, it is a bonus, really. And really, it's after the 2 games that they have next is where I'm maybe expecting more returns from McCarthy. But yeah, I'm not too bothered. I'm not going to change my keeper just because they have a bad fixture or because Martinez looks like the best at around that price. I really don't care. So McCarthy's in goal. In terms of the defense now, I highlighted him last week as a major issue, and Reece James, he actually did very well in Game Week 1, but then after that, just 1 point across Game Week 2 and 3. And then in Game Week 4, he doesn't even play. But that allowed Basuma to come from my bench, which was a bit jammy. But yeah, Reece James, the thing I want from all of my players, especially if they're supposed to be a starter, is for them to actually play consistently for their team. And now that Azpilicueta is back, there is no guarantee that that any of them is going to play. They might be rotated from time to time. Reece James might play in the Champions League 1 week, and then the other he plays in the Premier League. But I don't give a crap. I just want my players to play in the Premier League, and that's why Reece James is the most likely to go. And the one that I highlighted last week, and that I'm not certain, but I'm pretty sure that I will go towards, is Ben Chilwell. But I want your opinions down in the comment section below. Should I go from Reece James to Chilwell, or is there someone else that comes to mind? For example, Castagna from Leicester. Maybe should I just save up on having double Liverpool defence? But really, after what happened last week, is that really an option? And with no Alisson until November. But things can happen. Maybe get an Aston Villa defender to get some coverage there, because defensively they look quite good. Maybe Digne, I'm not sure, but you lot let me know. At the moment, like I said, I'm leaning towards Chilwell. It's the obvious pick because Chilwell's so attacking, had a great game against Palace, and also plays in the same team as James, but he's actually going to get a lot of minutes and shouldn't be benched too much by Marcos Alonso. But yeah, let me know what you think in terms of that. Yeah, at the moment, like I said, I am leaning towards Chilwell, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. With the rest of my defence, Roman Saiss away to Leeds. Yeah, probably the hardest fixture when you see all these greens, but still, you never know. Saiss can still get an attack and return, get something. But yeah, I'm expecting 2 points really from him in this game week. I'm not expecting too much, and yeah, but then again, fixtures this season haven't really been a good indication of how many points someone's going to get. It's all about form, and a lot of games are so unpredictable, so crazy. So, you know, maybe he actually just gets an amazing return against Leeds, and against Newcastle at home, he does nothing. So I don't tend to look at the fixtures too much or worry too much. You're not going to do well every week, really. Otherwise, it's just too easy. And yeah, it's just impossible for all of your players to perform at the same time. Sometimes you just need 3 or 4 players to perform. Like last week I had Son and James, for example, producing, and Salah, and they get the bulk of your points. But yeah, Roman Saiss, I'm happy with him long term. Wolves, I think if you want any of their assets, it's defensive assets. And yeah, someone like Saiss, who I got in at 5 million, yeah, very good at that price. Trent Alexander-Arnold, I know a lot of people are having doubts about this guy, but I still think the assists are going to come and the goals. We'll just have to wait. It's a matter of time. That -1, like seriously, it still looks weird. You think that the 1 point against Leeds was bad, but but that's how football is at the moment. Everton away next. That is a very, very tough fixture. And in years gone by, there's been a lot of draws down at Goodison Park, but that's with different managers and different play styles. But to be fair, Ancelotti also, I think it was the first game back from Project Restart. They played Liverpool and they drew 0-0, and it was a pretty boring affair. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I think both teams would take a point. It's a valuable point facing a very good rival. But yeah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, I don't want to do any sideways moves for him yet, but as I said from even game week 1, there is the possibility that Robertson is better value. And so on a wild card or something like that, maybe Robertson's the guy to go with. And also just how offensive Robertson is and how much he gets into the box, how he bombs forward, whilst Trent Alexander-Arnold kind of just sits back a bit and then does crosses from deep, which isn't too reassuring, but I still think the points are going to come for him. And anyone who's getting him out for a hit or something, just good luck, because it could end in disaster. But yeah, Trent Alexander-Arnold, I still think it's worth keeping one Liverpool defender for the time being. We'll have to wait and see how they do defensively after that shambles against Aston Villa. Justin, another one who kind of disappointed last week, one of the only few who disappointed. 1 point against West Ham, just like against Man City. Before that, he had 2 very good returns. He's playing Aston Villa at home. I don't think that's an easy fixture, to be honest, and we'll have to wait and see. But if Aston Villa play on the counter-attack against Leicester, and Leicester are the ones who are trying to control the game, I don't think it's going to end well for them. But if Leicester sit back, absorb the pressure, and their fullbacks keep getting forward at the right times, yeah, maybe Justin's in for a big return. But yeah, I'm not expecting too much from him. And he's someone that I've also got in mind to go. So the defence, as you can tell here, is the weakest part of my team. And for Justin, I've got a few players in mind, such as Konsa, Kyle Walker-Peters, Lamptey. There's quite a few I could go with. But yeah, for the time being, Justin's here, maybe for another week or two. But because of Reece James not even playing at the moment, he's a bigger fish to fry. And also Justin, really, he could be in the same position as James soon, where he's just getting rotated and I want to get rid of him and I need people. That's why it's good to have these backups in mind. Because weeks down the line, you might have to make the transfer. But to be prepared for it, yeah, you just got to think it through weeks in advance. But yeah, James, Justin and James, definitely the weak links of my team. Yeah, if you look at the fixtures, it's not. But in terms of long-term stability in the team, it's not there. Simple as. And Reece James is 5.1 million. Also, bear that in mind. So yeah, definitely want to get rid of him before too many price drops and I lose money on him. I got him in at 5 million. In terms of the midfield, yeah, it's a bit of a tricky one. James Rodriguez and Salah, obviously they play each other. There's also Calvert-Lewin, but yeah, that Everton Liverpool fixture, I've got 4 players involved, and yeah, James Rodriguez at home has been very, very good. 30 points in 2 home games, that is insane. It's not sustainable, of course. No one's going to produce in every single home game, but he's just such a quality player. And I am prepared to, give him time. Even if he blanks against Liverpool, I can give him maybe Southampton and Newcastle, whatever. Because players like this, they start off at 7.5 million and they're performing like they're £9 million assets. So yeah, James Rodriguez, very happy with him. There's not much more that needs to be said. The only thing, I think I said this in preview of Game Week 4, I said James Rodriguez isn't really the type you want to captain for maybe for the week, but maybe for a home game, I would say captain him. Not against Liverpool, I'd recommend. But yeah, James Rodriguez could be a good captaincy choice at home. But still bear in mind that he could get a lot of passes before the assist, which is obviously useless in FPL terms. Now, Mohamed Salah came clutch last week. I captained him and he did very well. The only player who played well for Liverpool, as I kept saying last week. Yeah, 13-pointer, even away from home. When Mane doesn't play, this guy steps up. So that's why if Mane's out and he's not playing, Salah is my captain. But yeah, I know a lot of people won't be considering this guy for captaincy, but I have to say think about, since he's joined the Premier League, who is a better fantasy Premier League asset? Probably no one. Maybe KDB when he's actually fit for a whole season, but Salah is one of the best FPL assets in history. So yeah, he's just someone you really want to have in your team. If you have Mane, fair enough, it's kind of similar. But yeah, this season I'm backing Salah. He looks very hungry for the goals. And yeah, after that Everton fixture, 2 home games, which I highlighted last week as well. Very, very interesting. Have to keep an eye on those 2 fixtures because definitely captaincy material. Against Everton, I'll admit, I'm not thinking of captaining him at the moment, but I would say do not rule him out because he can still do something. He might not have scored at Goodison Park before, or the last few fixtures there has been very tough for Liverpool. Still, Salah can produce the goods, no doubt about it. So just keep an eye on it. Don't rule Salah out ever. And same with KDB, to be honest. And speaking of KDB, I had him captain, but I switched it for now. And if I make any changes, it will probably be between these 2, by the way, De Bruyne and Son. And the other outside pick kind of is Mohamed Salah. But yeah, De Bruyne is playing at home against Arsenal. And I'm just saying, it says he has a knock. And I remember the Belgian national team, they posted a tweet saying that De Bruyne isn't fit enough to play their next Nations League game or something like that. I think it's just Pep saying, look, I want him ready and fit and no problems at all so he can play against Arsenal. So I'm 90% sure that De Bruyne is going to play. However, if you have doubts or if you just have a bad feeling about it or whatever, then maybe take him out, whatever. But I'm just saying in my case, I think he's going to play. I think this knock is nothing. It's just for him to rest and recharge for that Arsenal game. So I'm not looking at this too much. And if it backfires, it backfires. But at least Arsenal benefit from it. But that's not the reason why I switched the captaincy to Son. The reason why is just because of Son's form. And De Bruyne has been a bit off in terms of the FPL points. But Son, look at that. Like, the Newcastle game is a bit unfair because, I mean, for one, he hit the post twice in the same game. And then he got substituted at half-time. But then look at how he did against Man United, who are the best team that they've played so far. Well, actually, probably not. It's probably Everton. But yeah, did very well against Man United and Southampton. Everton, let's be honest, Spurs were just horrible and they got outplayed by the better team. But yeah, the only thing obviously people will look at is at home, how many points does Son have? 3. And fair enough, that's true. But he's not going to always blank at home. Let's put it that way. And with the fixtures Tottenham have, I think it's a must-have, in my opinion, it's a must-have either to have Son or Kane. And if you have both, I think for the foreseeable future, that's probably a very good move that can propel you up the ranks. But yeah, I'd say definitely have at least one of them. And if you're asking me, I know people have in the last few videos in the comment section, if you're asking me who should I pick between Kane and Son, I'm going with Son because 1, he's 9 million and he's much better value for money than Kane. And 2, he gets the extra points for the goal and the clean sheet, which Kane does not get. So in terms of points, Son doesn't have to do as much as Kane to get a similar amount of points, if we're being honest. But their relationship on the pitch is just very, very good. It's the best partnership at the moment in the Premier League. And yeah, I think it's a must-have, either Son or Kane. And like I said, I'd go with Son. And he is my captain at the moment, but like I said, it's between him, De Bruyne and Salah, and things are subject to change always. So the team is nearly locked in, but there's still the transfer to be made, which will probably be Reece James. But I want you lot to help me in terms of, with your suggestions, who you think I should get in for Reece James or whoever. And in terms of captaincy, who would you captain? Would you captain Son? Would you captain De Bruyne? Maybe one of the strikers? Salah? What about James? I would not captain defender this season, not even Trent and Robertson, because the way games have been going, so unpredictable, so high scoring, I'd stay clear, but that's just me. And moving on to the strikers, the last part of the team, Calvert-Lewin against Liverpool. To be honest, he's just scored in every single game. Even for England, he scores against Wales. He's just in the form of his life. And yeah, against Liverpool, it might be the first blank in a long time, but I'm just saying, do not panic and do not just sell him if he blanks, because that would just be a stupid mistake. Everton look like one of the best teams so far. Calvert-Lewin looks like one of the best strikers so far. He is the top scorer. It's just hard to go against him. And yeah, he's nearly owned by 50% of the game. And it's just mad. And I don't really care too much about any reds or grey fixtures. I think that Calvert-Lewin can do very well. And he can still do very well against Liverpool as well. But I'm not going to just set these false expectations and expect him to perform every single game. There's going to be a point where he drops. But yeah, for now, I think it's worth backing him. And Calvert-Lewin just sensational this season. Absolutely sensational. Now, someone who hasn't been sensational is Raul Jimenez, and hopefully he picks up, because after the first 2 games where he produced, well, yeah, not very good. 0 points and then 2 points across 2 game weeks. That's pretty poor. But 22% ownership, and I think there's a lot of striker options this season. So if Jimenez doesn't do the business, you have Malpai, you have Callum Wilson, you have Mikel Antonio, you have Danny Ings, Werner, I wouldn't say at the moment, and even Martial, who's suspended. But there are a lot of striker options. Those 2 that I just mentioned now will come good at some point. And yeah, even Lacazette maybe. Yeah, I wouldn't, but I'm just saying, there's Lacazette. There's so many people you could go for, and there's of course the famous Calvert-Lewin. But Jimenez definitely needs to start performing. He's got the fixtures to do so. I would be very shocked if he doesn't get at least 1 goal in the next 3 games. But yeah, for now, I've got fires to put out in my team, such as Reece James and James Justin in the foreseeable future. The midfield is where I'm most confident in, and Calvert-Lewin. But when I look at the defence, that's where I really want to change things. So for now, Jimenez gets the pass, because I don't want to take hits, to be honest. I don't think it's worth it. Even if I were to get in someone like Kane, for example, on a -4, that could maybe work. But even then, I'm not too swayed by taking hits. I want to minimise that and just make free transfers and make as few transfers as possible. And if I ever want to overhaul my team, do a wildcard. But yeah, for now, Jimenez, I want to give him at least another week or 2. And then once the other fires are put out and I'm happy with the rest of my team, then yeah, Jimenez is maybe close to the chopping block. But yeah, I literally just brought him in for the Fulham game. I didn't have him for the West Ham game. So that's why it's probably advisable to give him a bit more time, at least in my case. But I would definitely not captain him. Wolves haven't been looking very good offensively. And yeah, I think it's just better to captain one of the premium options, or if not, Calvert-Lewin. But Raul Jimenez, not so much. Hopefully he does well, though, in the next few games. I think he will do well in one of these fixtures. Just have to hope it's sooner rather than later. In terms of the bench, Basuma, the legend, he is second on my bench at the moment. But maybe just switch him first. Why not? Mitchell and Palace have looked very, very poor. And Patrick Van Aanholt is actually coming back very soon. And like I said, I'd expect him to be back by game week 7-ish. And Mitchell might lose his place in the team. But look at the fixtures. Actually, a lot of good fixtures on the FDR. But with the form Palace are in, I'm not sure. They won their first 2 games, but then after that, it's just been awful, especially against Chelsea. That was just an atrocity of a performance. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But Brighton at home, that's not an easy fixture. Brighton have been looking pretty decent going forward. And yeah, it could be like a 1-1 or something. But I'm not sure. In terms of the bench, Davis is definitely my last substitute. And he's actually gone down in price, unfortunately. So I can't really make that move to Brewster. But whatever. Can make money on a wild card or whatever. That's not something I'm really concerned about right now. So yeah, literally, this is my team for Game Week 5. And I want your opinions on who I should get for Reece James, and then for James Justin in the foreseeable future. Also, who should I captain? Should I captain Son, De Bruyne, Salah, Calvert-Lewin? Those are my 4 options. There's also James Rodriguez. You can't really look past his home form too much. And he even played well for Colombia the other day. And yeah, the other change that I would possibly make is the order of my first substitute, which helped me a lot last week when Basuma came in for Reece James. So it is important to get that right too. But yeah, those are literally the only things that can change at the moment in terms of captaincy. It's between Son, De Bruyne and Salah, but it's more between these 2 rather than Salah at the moment, if I'm being honest. But that's all for this week and my preview. And if you want more in-depth analysis and stuff like that, check out my last 2 FPL videos. And I also made a UCL fantasy video, a first team draft. And yeah, that should be very interesting as well. But thank you for watching this video. And if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and share this video around with your friends and family. I really appreciate it. And like I said, keep the discussion going. It's very fun and also very informative and insightful, really. Not only for you lot, but also for me. We learn off each other, and there's a lot of things we can do better, of course. And yeah, good luck with Game Week 5, of course. Good luck with the rest of the season. And nearly at 1,000 subscribers. I have to say thank you to everyone. Absolute, I'm lost for words, but thank you so much. And that was the goal for the end of the season. I hope we can reach it. And yeah, just a little more push and we're there. But yeah, fantastic progress, and it's all thanks to you lot. And I'll keep the content going. And like I said, if there's anything you want me to improve on, any type of videos you want me to make, let me know, because I do listen and I try to implement all of these feedback into my videos and to make them better. But yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.